What is going on, Lunatic Fringe? The revival of Terra Luna Classic should be an epic occurrence, and there are a lot of things that are piling up right now that are going to lead to price appreciation. Now, you haven't seen it yet. You've seen a little bit of a move, but nothing substantial. Like, it's just the typical, we go up when Bitcoin goes up, we go down when Bitcoin goes down. There's nothing special about what's happening, but behind the scenes, special things are happening, have happened, and continue to happen. And it's only a matter of time before that leads to incredible price appreciation. Let me just take you back and give you an example here, because some of you are just not good at this, okay? Just absolutely the worst. You have no clue, and you talk like a genius, but you sound like a clown. Do you know what I'm talking about? If that applies to you, by the way, you know who you are. So the third largest exchange in the United States should have some really, really good, some really great value, shouldn't it? Well, here's crypto.com. This is the Crow token. It is down or at near the bottom of where it was back in the old days. In the last bull run, it was up here at $1, okay? It's 9 cents right now, all right? Well, let's go a step further. Cardano, which did have a rip up here to $1.32 not that long ago, trading at around 62 cents right now. Had a run, last bull market up to $3, still sitting there way, way, way down. Let's look at Aptos. Aptos could not be lower. It is almost impossible for it to be lower. Now, why do I bring this up? Because this is a complicated market. There are a lot of things that are happening in each and every one of these cryptos that should move the markets, but they have not. And if those don't seem specific because you don't know them or you're not paying attention to them, let me show you one that you should be paying attention, and you're actually kind of psycho if you don't. Lunatics, this is Render. I've said and gone on record many times saying that I think that Render will end up being one of the premier cryptos in all of crypto. It shares your GPU. You just have to sign up to the network. You earn some render for allowing them to use your CPU or GPU space. This has when you look at the list of the board of directors, you've got J.J. Abrams, you've got Avi Aram, you've got the people, or Avi Aram, whatever his name is, the guy that makes the Superman movies. There are so many different huge people on this board of directors that you would lose your mind knowing that this is the elite Hollywood crypto, or at least in practice. But in the real world, the value has been sucked dry. In the last bull run, when we got a little, we got a little move the last time, which was November, December, it went up to around $12. It's sitting at $3 right now. Now, I just bored you with some details, but my point to it all is this. A lot of these things have huge catalysts that are coming along. Render partnered with NVIDIA. So all of these things don't mean that a crypto is going to pump. You have to create value. You have to create revenue. You have to give people a reason, okay? And the small reasons that we're getting right now have not added up to price pumps on 97% of all cryptos. And you might be saying to yourself, yeah, but what about Bitcoin? What about Bitcoin? Bitcoin is going up only. It's only going up. That's right. Also, I can't wait to see you on that Dating on the Spectrum show, because that's how you sound in my brain. Okay? Bitcoin is the exception. That's not the rule. Like, don't be a dummy. You know what is the rule, however? Let me show you another one. Because we talk about this all the time as a meme coin, as a mid cap, whatever you want to call it, right? This is Shiba Inu. Now, you can look at it from the bottom over here. If you got in at the bottom over here, like way down there at the bottom, you feel great, because guess what? You are up a significant amount. And you've had multiple pumps in order to take your profit along the way. And look at that chart. You're at the bottom, okay? You won't stay at the bottom forever. But right now, you're at the bottom. You might be asking yourself, yeah, but what about Ethereum? Well, Ethereum is kind of doing the same thing, barely getting an opportunity to break out. Now, look, it was down here in the hundreds of dollars, or all the way, I think it launched at $8, okay? So it is significantly up in the last, 8 years. okay? Luna Classic doesn't have 8 years. It really does not. It's got a short period of time here where it had a nice run, but that wouldn't have maintained. Even if we just take for a second and say that, if Jump Crypto had not stepped in and started to scam all of us as investors in Luna, if they had not stepped in, guess what? It would still have come down. It would still have come down into the range of maybe $1, maybe $10. Okay, it would still be down 90%, not 900%, or whatever the number is that it tumbled down to, 99.99, whatever number it is. It would have done the same thing. It would have gone down with these ridiculous numbers, and none of that matters. What matters is, can you buy the bottom? And when you buy the bottom, will it start to reverse? So, what is the answer to that? And the answer is this. If you don't sign up for Terracasino.io today, you are absolutely wrong, and I don't know how to help you. Giving away free money. I've been giving away $100. I've given away almost $2,000 in the last few days here, and each person gets an opportunity to win big by playing. I mean, you get $100. Use it how you want. Go to Terracasino.io and sign up today. I'm going to be asking for your very, very soon. And look how much money is just constantly being played here. Guys, I can't stress enough. Terracasino.io. And if you want to buy the meme coin, you buy the Believe coin. You buy it on Terraport.finance. But not just Terraport.finance, or not just Believe coin, but you can also get whatever pair you want. Juris Protocol, done. Terra, done. Selenium, a double done. Cookie, double Dutch bus, or whatever stupid thing, whatever the smartest thing that anybody has ever said, the funniest thing that ever made you laugh. That's what I just said, so start laughing. Jesus Christ, I don't have to tell you this shit. Shouldn't have to anyway. Anyway, so let's move on here. Go to Terraport.finance for all your trading. Now, we do have an article up. It really looks AI generated, so it makes no sense, is kind of the summary here. Binance Square, I'm starting to get a little bit particular about what I see on Binance Square. It says the community's commitment is evident through its substantial token burns, over 100 billion LUNC removed from circulation. Whatever. Recent initiatives such as the approval of Proposal 12179 to create a LUNC USTC liquidity pair are enhancing the ecosystem's liquidity and attracting new participants. I don't know about attracting new participants, but I know it's enhancing the ecosystem's liquidity. But it says this resurgence is more than a recovery. I don't think so. Okay, this makes sense to me. There's not a resurgence here. We're not seeing anything. This is, again, I think this is just kind of AI. This says hashtag right to earn. I got a feeling that this is most likely just some AI generated BS. Doesn't really make any sense to me. Here's what makes sense to me. So we were talking about what was going on here to get like $1.5 million from out of nowhere because somebody has $1.5 million sitting somewhere that these people think that they can get, right? I'm not in favor of it, but in the last 48 hours or 24 hours, right here, request for immediate governance proposal, market module 2.0, no mint version. I don't know who this is, by the way, so I have no idea what's going on here. This says, however, it says, Dear Vegas, Morph, Strathcole, and the Terra Classic community, we appreciate the detailed work. The design featuring no mint structure with burn mechanisms, Oracle-based pricing has gained significant interest for approval. However, we are concerned by the continued delay in submitting a formal on-chain governance proposal. At this stage, the community needs clarity and a signal to proceed. Even a signaling proposal would serve to show community alignment, enable funds, testing coordination, and allow momentum. What? Basically, this is what you've got. You've got somebody out here named Terra Phoenix who's saying, hey man, would you pump my bags? That's a seller's mentality, okay? And I'm not in support of being kind of pushed to, hey man, pump my bags. You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. When it's ready, and it's not ready yet, but when it's ready, then you will know, and then a proposal will be put up. But, I mean, these things have to be, chill out. Stop telling people what to do because you need your bag pumped. And that's really what it comes down to. When you get proposals like that, where it's not actually a proposal, it's just somebody saying, hey, you know that proposal that you were supposed to submit? Why don't you submit that proposal that you were supposed to submit so that I feel better about my bag? That's really ridiculous, okay? When it's ready, it will be done. Also, there is an update proposal here for the Terra Classic SDK and WASM update, and this proposal outlines a secure backward compatible upgrade for core infrastructure, so you're probably going to see this come up for proposal very, very soon. Right now, there is no governance up, but you will see this one coming for a vote pretty soon, and I think that's pretty much a no-brainer at this point. As long as it doesn't break the system, then I think we're going to do whatever the upgrade is. And if you want to read it, if you want to get into the fine and granular details here, then you can start to look at it and you can start to figure out exactly what it is. And there's the cost and everything like that. It's going to go along with it. So that'll come up for governance very, very soon. Also, starting to get a little bit of movement on Terra. It's down 1.5% on the day, but it's at 0.0035, which is up from 0.0032 just a couple days ago. So it's up 10% overall. So getting a nice little reversal, but I'll think a lot of that, in my opinion, is because of Luna Classic. I don't think that Terra is doing anything at this point. I think that again, I think that's just kind of a move based on Luna Classic having a little bit more value to it, stuff like that. So it could be, but again, I'm not sure. Cookie, however, up 4% on the day. Garuda up 3% on the day. Luna Classic up almost 4% on the day in the LUNC to USTC pairing. So that's a dominance thing. That's not really money. That's a dominance thing. So Luna Classic is starting to have a favorable pairing on that. So what's next? We recognize validators. Validators, Terra Vita has now entered the top 10. They've passed up Interstake 1. They've passed up Stakely. They are now in the top echelon, and a great thing right there. And produces a revenue of a couple $100 a month. So shout out to them for finally getting a little something out here and a little bit of opportunity. It's a fantastic thing right there, okay? What I'd like to see is I would like to see some continued movement. I'd like to see LUNC Live get in that top 5. Sadly, I would even like to see Jesus is Lord, because again, I disagree fundamentally with Jesus is Lord on so many different proposals, but I never feel that he's trying to hold back the chain. I feel like not for personal gain. I feel like Jesus is Lord does everything they do for philosophical reasons, and I mean, okay, I'll accept that, right? But let me also show you another important thing, and that is the number of new delegators that are showing up for some of these projects. Orion lost 23. Happy Caddy Crypto's now lost 28. LUNC Live has added 4 new ones. Interstake lost another 12. TCB lost 15. Juris Protocol has gained 43 just recently. Oh my God. We've got 17 being gained by Baywatch down here. First time I saw them, I said, Baywatch, oh, that's one of my favorite bands. My favorite. And it's not Baywatch, it's Bayside. And then when I said that, I said, you know what? Why would I say it's one of my favorite bands? It's just some punk band that I happen to listen to every once in a while. So what is wrong with you, please? Firefly Capital up 14. B-Nodes up 18. You're starting to see a dissemination of removal from the top, and you're starting to see real decentralization. And you're seeing that real decentralization because the centralization that you've had so far is not working out. It's not worked for you, and it needed to be fixed. These people needed to be stopped. And guess what? We've done a lot of stopping just recently. So shout out to everybody who's been involved in that process. Now, let's move on. And let's talk about the price action that we were just talking about when we were looking at the chart. All of these major altcoins are in the same boat, the same situation. Nothing fundamentally has changed. So here's what matters the most. What matters the most is what can we do? What can we do to get this thing moving? And the answer really for you is nothing. Just have patience. And you've got to have patience because guess what? If you don't get into a pump and dump, and that's what we're really talking about with meme coins right now. If you don't get into a pump and dump, then there's not a lot of things that are absolutely banging out. You waited, and let's be honest here. If you're like, well, what about XRP? Yeah, it took 7 years for XRP to pump. It didn't even pump very hard in the last bull market. Right there, $1.80, right? It's hovering at 244 right now. Prices that we haven't seen since, what is this, 2018? So when you're telling me that it needs to, whatever you're telling me in your brain, then my response to you would be, shut up. You don't know shit. Why do you have all that stuff behind you? Like, dude, clean your fucking house. Gross. Ew. Anyway, it took 7 years for this thing to get going. Will it take Luna Classic 7 years to get going? Probably not. Probably go faster than that. But the point is, it's going to get its moment in the sun, and that market module is probably going to be a big part. We are 3 days removed right now from doing that. We are 3 days removed. So in 3 days, we'll be talking about it. It's going to be community spaces like this on Twitter on Sunday, and on Sunday we're going to be talking all about the market module and what you need to know about it. And it's going to include some of the greatest people. I mean, mostly me. But some of the greatest people that have ever lived that are trading the classic. I don't have a bigger way to segue because I just feel like I just said like the greatest people alive. You know what I mean? What am I doing? God damn. Anyway, on Sunday, we're going to be talking about Terra Luna Classic, and it's going to be massive. And guess what? That is one of the things that would act as a catalyst, because what we're talking about is a no new mint burn only market module for USTC originally and Luna Classic. Now, this doesn't really help, like it's complicated, okay? There's no reason to trade in that pair back and forth right now, and there really isn't. It's very difficult, very complicated to always do that. I did it, and I was actually successful. Remember, if you guys remember, I took like 6 million, I took like 12 million LUNC, and I split it between two. So I had 6 million of LUNC, 6 million of USTC. Now I have 13.3 million. So I made a little bit along the way, only $1 million. It's only $50 or something like that. Now consider this. I waited 3 months to make $50, okay? So, let's be very, very clear. Now, if it goes up 40x like I predict, and we go to that level, then that $50 times 40 is $2,000. So maybe I did it for $2,000, but for right now, it's for $50. I didn't really get a big win. I didn't get what I was looking for, okay? Win, yes. Big win, no. And what I was looking for was a breakout moment that I thought would happen with USTC, where it would just kind of bump up here into that 2-cent sort of range, and that would double it, and then my bag would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 17. And then that would have been a little bit more validation, because I would have taken 12 million, would turn it into 17, but that would have been, but it didn't happen, okay? And the reason for that is it's very complicated to go back and forth between LUNC and USTC because they are so tied together. We don't have a stable coin. Well, guess what? Now you have USDC, but you might also have USTD. You might have U and STD. I can't stop myself. But the point is that we'll have a stable coin kind of mixed in there in the meantime, and that would lead to a lot of different potential burns as we trade back and forth. This is going to create the platform in which you will be able to trade. And then let's not forget what else is going on. Juris Protocol is going to be your lending and borrowing application, and when that gets released, and that's part of all of this, then guess what? You're even more incentivized to borrow against your Terra Luna Classic and then use it to buy even more and then trade that and get rich, baby. Like what could be better than what we're seeing right now? So let's talk price action. What I expect to see right now is I expect to see some appreciation on the price. I expect to see a continued move over here. Now, when we zoom in and we look at it in a tighter window, we're not seeing that much movement, but the important part is that we're getting closer and closer as the day goes by, and we're above the 50 MA. Again, I told you before, we need a couple of confirmations on that. We don't have it fully. Actually, we might have it full. Yeah, we've got a full confirmation above the 50 and above the 200 on the 4 hour. And we haven't been there in a long, long time. Going back to May, we were there. Going back to we were about 7,407. So that looks to me like there is a springboard for some price appreciation. Now, what happened when this happened over here? We got this dump over here, and then we started to mint higher lows, and then we ended up going from 5 to 7, which again, you may not like it, but that's about a 50% pump. Well, we're sitting right here going through that kind of pump again right now. The question is, do we continue on our path upwards? And again, top of this range right here, I think that's coming. So it looks like we are in momentum speak. We are starting to get bullish. Now, the question is, will this 50 start to curl? Will we get a little bit more stretch going here? Will we get a little bit more upside? You know, again, if we just go right here, then this 50 starts to do this. And when people start to see that and they see this and they see that convergence, then guess what? That means that you got a golden cross and then bam, 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 bam. And then that becomes that moment where you finally break out here. And again, breaking out here is not going to be huge. It's not going to be a lot. You're not going to get a massive amount of money off of it. But you might get a nice little 2x, maybe 3x, something like that. So the situation exists and it's getting very, very close. Let me go back and say it one more time. Market module, we just burned $1 billion out of nowhere. We've got again, we're starting to look at some of these burns. We're starting to see something. We're seeing the market module doing that. Then we've got Juris Protocol out here. Then we've got Garuda X. We've got all these different protocols. We've got Selenium out here, which is bringing RWA into the Luna Classic ecosystem. We have so many different things that are working right now. You should be excited. The one thing that we've got working against us, okay, is full decentralization. And you might be saying to yourself, well, that's stupid, Bleaves. Why would you say that full decentralization is the problem? Hear me out. We have no leadership. Even Ethereum has leadership. They have a steering council, okay? Why? Because they're successful. Who has stopped our leadership council? Happy Caddy Crypto, Interstake, Interstellar. There's a lot of different ones as validators. And guess what? Those validators, they are now eating crow, okay? Because the people are tired. If you're tired, get your money out of these bad actors validation and put it into delegate to people who vote the way you want. And if you want progress on this, look, if decentralization, if pure, unadulterated decentralization is your ultimate goal, and that's what you want, you don't want any leadership. You don't want people to be able to find your project on a website or anything like that. If you don't want any of that, by all means, continue to validate with the people who vote no to the important protocols. But if you want progress and you want people who are going to step up and take responsibility and help you, then guess what? It's time for you to make a change. So validate with the people who support what you think is important. And if they're not doing that, go to somebody else until you find somebody that does. That's all you have to do. It's not even complicated. It's so simple. Even a monkey could do. So what are you waiting for? Validate with the people who can help you today. And we're going to cut this close. There's about $1 billion that have been burned over the last couple of days, 1.1 billion. Again, it's just 1 billion in the fee collector. But that's a good start. That's a lot of crypto in one fell swoop. You know, again, if we had that happen during the time when Binance was burning, then we'd be talking about 1.5, 1.7 billion being burned in a week period. That would be significant. We keep something like that running, we keep something like that going, then guess what? We're in a great place. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. And remember, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right.